A dramatic rescue caught on camera will show the moment a woman fell through the ice on Lake Monona.
And should the village of DeForest remove fluoride from the water? The impact that dental experts say this could have.
Plus, reaching out to local artists, the Madison Commission seeking original pieces for city projects. You're watching News 3 Now at 10. And good evening. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. We begin tonight with a look at your first warm weather forecast. Alert day conditions are set to stick with us throughout the night.
Alex Harrington joins us now to talk about these bone-chilling temps.
Yes, and that very slow crawl getting out of those bone-chilling temps. We still have cold weather advisories in effect for 2 more hours here for southern Wisconsin, at least east of the Dells and east of Lone Rock. But it doesn't matter even when they expire. Temperatures overnight tonight and the combination of the winds, we're still going to see wind chills to -10 to -20 waking up to Wednesday morning, even as warmer air tries to make it into southern Wisconsin. And it will make it into southern Wisconsin. It will be a big difference by tomorrow. But right now, still sporting wind chills of -20 out there right now, -12 in Bosqueville, still -20 feeling in Platteville, even as warmer air tries to come in from the south and from the west. Actual air temperatures, it's 1 in Platteville, 0 in Madison, -2 in Watertown. And I think we'll still get down here in Madison to about -1, -2 before that warmer air moves in and then those temperatures start to increase overnight. But we got 2 in Mount Horeb, -1 to the east in Deerfield, up in 151 in Sun Prairie, -1. These temperatures tonight, even though Madison shows -2, will warm up overnight tonight and we'll get those temperatures closer to the single digits above 0, waking up to breezy conditions on Wednesday. And we have a little light snow coming into the picture on Wednesday as well. We'll talk about that light snow chance and what could battle that light snow. And also, I will show you how far behind, it's striking how far behind we are with snow for the month of January. That's coming up.
All right, Alex, thank you. And a woman is recovering after falling through the ice on Lake Monona this morning, and the dramatic incident all caught on camera. A viewer and their wife were watching it all happen. The two called 911. Suddenly, the woman drops into the frigid water beneath. You'll see it shortly here. Madison Fire's lake rescue team says they geared up and ran out, but discovered that police already had made it out onto the ice. You see there what happened. They made it out on the ice with a neighbor's paddleboard, and the team adds that even though it is freezing cold out there, the ice this year can obviously be very unpredictable after going through an early cold snap and then melting and then freezing again.
Ice and then water on top of that ice and then more ice, so you could potentially fall through the ice, new ice, and land on brittle old ice.
Well, if you do decide to venture out, you should try to be prepared by bringing a flotation device, your phone, and a dry bag, and ice picks to try to pull yourself out if needed.
With these freezing temperatures outside, some people don't have a comfortable place to stay and get warm, unfortunately. That's where the organization Friends of the State Street Family steps in to help. Volunteers drive around the city dropping off things like blankets, clothes, and gas to help people stay warm. While shelters are open to most unhoused people, the nonprofit says that many of them stay in their cars in this frigid cold.
I think that that's an important recognition that shelter, when you get over 300 people, can be a really intimidating place. There's not privacy, kind of going into the unknown.
Friends of the State Street Family has already passed out over 300 pairs of boots alone. The nonprofit is in need of unused gloves, also thermal donations to give to people who are living on the street. Links to donate and help are on channel3000.com. Now, the city of Madison says it will delay trash and recycling pickups for some people because of the extreme cold. Now, if today is trash and recycling for you, please put the bins out even if they don't get collected. In that case, the city will get to them tomorrow. If Monday was when your trash was picked up or supposed to be, this also will apply to you because of the Martin Luther King holiday. For those outside of Madison, please check your local municipality for the latest updates.
The village of DeForest is contending the use of fluoride in its water tonight at its village board meeting.
Our Maddie Heimch brings us what local officials, residents, and experts have to say and what the board decided in the end.
DeForest residents at tonight's board meeting argued both for and against the village continuing to add fluoride into their water. But an expert tells me, like many things, fluoride is all about moderation.
Anything that's not in the right dose has the potential of being toxic, right? Whether it's salt or vitamin A or vitamin D, or even water.
Wisconsin Dental Association President Dr. Tom Reed says the small doses in which fluoride is present in our drinking water is not only safe.
Over and over again, fluoride has been deemed to be safe and effective at preventing cavities,
but equitable.
The CDC recognized community water fluoridation as one of the top 10 public health achievements of the past century.
Many DeForest community members agree with Reed's stance.
It's reducing decay by 25%, and it's probably going to get to some of the most underserved folks.
But others say they'd like a say in what goes into their water.
There are safer, targeted ways to prevent tooth decay without forcing systemic exposure to fluoride through drinking water.
Community members at the meeting also took issue with what they called a lack of communication on the part of the village board.
I find it very concerning that the topic of fluoride being removed from the water system has been brought to the board, but it hasn't been brought to the public forum.
There should be transparency of process.
Leading the board to eventually table the issue for a later date in an attempt to give constituents more time to make their voices heard.
It is our responsibility and our due diligence to listen to the voice of the community.
The village board's next meeting is set to take place on February 4th. Reporting in DeForest, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Maddie, thank you. And residents in Lancaster are encouraged to submit public comments for an initiative to improve that city's drinking water system. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources said Lancaster is an applicant through the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. The project includes the construction of the North Wilson Water Main Loop as well as an extension of the Maple South Wilson Water Main Loop. Public comments should be submitted by February 4th. A link to submit can be found on our website at channel3000.com.
Next month, Boston voters will decide on another referendum to keep the school district in operation. Last November, residents voted against the referendum to keep the school district operational for a second time. So now the district superintendent says if this third vote fails, they will consider dissolving. Vote Yes for Boston Kids has been organizing within the community to get people on their side. The group includes a local business owner who says he's closely considered the consequences of this vote.
It's going to be much, much better for the community to have a vibrant school district than it is to have none, or to have one that limps along, which is what I think is going to happen.
The November referendum failed by only 69 votes. The next takes place on February 18th.
Republican lawmakers want to change Wisconsin law to allow candidates to remove their names from the ballot. That proposal would address an issue that came up after Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tried to get off the ballot this past year, but could not. Under the law, a candidate could withdraw by submitting a sworn statement to the Wisconsin Elections Commission and paying a nominal fee. It would not apply to major party candidates for president because of the unique ways that they are selected. A lawsuit filed by over a dozen Democratic state attorneys general, including Wisconsin's, is challenging President Donald Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship in the United States. This lawsuit alleges that a Trump executive order signed on Monday violates the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which gives a constitutional right of citizenship to all children born in the United States.
What's happened with this executive order is that Donald Trump has ignored the Constitution, ignored Supreme Court precedent, and ignored federal law and directed federal agencies to take actions that are inconsistent with what the law and the Constitution says. That is fundamentally inconsistent with our system of government.
And the outcome of this lawsuit would affect roughly 150,000 American citizens.
The Madison Arts Commission is looking for some original local pieces for the upcoming city projects. Artists are encouraged to apply with images of 2 or 3 dimensional, digital, or time-based works. Up to 10 original pieces can be submitted. Selected art will be considered for public opportunities in several city and divisions and departments.
There's tons of opportunities that keep coming at us. And in order to give as many opportunities as possible to as many artists as possible and still keep our process fluid and strong and efficient, we decided to broaden our call for art. So it'll really make the whole process much more efficient.
Applications are due by noon February 14th, and those will be considered during the first round of reviews on February 19th.
A Columbus, Wisconsin man who died fighting in Vietnam has now been accounted for. U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Donald Downing was identified last month, nearly 50 years after he was reported killed in action. Now, Downing served in Vietnam as a pilot with the 557th Tactical Fighter Squadron and was posthumously promoted to the rank of lieutenant colonel after being shot down in September 1967. A funeral for Downing will be held at Arlington National Cemetery at a later date.
Well, the Dane County Regional Airport officially welcomed a new member of the Sheriff's K-9 team. After more than a year of specialized training, K-9 Dorji and his handler, Deputy, are on duty. Dorji is a 2-year-old Belgian Malinois and German Shepherd mix. He's certified in explosive odor detection and trained to locate firearms and empty shell casings. The airport is also celebrating its volunteer pet therapy team, which helps provide stress relief and comfort to travelers.
When we come back, Alex will tell us about some warmer weather finishing up the work week.
And it's President Donald Trump's first full day in office, the myriad of issues he's tackling with his executive powers. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. President Trump is wrapping up his first full day in office.
Yeah, immigration and AI infrastructure are two of his immediate focus areas. Erica Brown now with more from Washington.
Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no.
President Trump began the first full day of his second term with criticism for the traditional prayer service held the morning after the inauguration. One of the speakers delivered this message to Trump.
I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away.
As Trump plans possible mass deportations, some communities, including Evanston, Illinois, are trying to prepare illegal immigrants.
We know that there's a possibility that our residents will be under threat, and we want to arm and empower them with every piece of information.
The Department of Homeland Security announced illegal immigrants can now be arrested at sensitive locations like churches and schools. Over 20 states have sued to stop Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship, which guarantees U.S.-born children are citizens regardless of their parents' status.
An executive order does not have the power to override the Constitution.
Hello, everybody.
Trump wrapped up his day with remarks about billions of dollars in private sector investment to build a supercomputer that will help develop the next generation of artificial intelligence. The new venture called Stargate will start with a data center project in Texas.
This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president.
The president also met with GOP congressional leaders as he moves his agenda forward. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
One of the president's cabinet nominees, Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, is facing more scrutiny. In a sworn affidavit, his former sister-in-law told senators that he abused alcohol and caused his wife to fear for her safety during his second marriage.
Now, there's a chance President Trump's handling of classified documents could still be shared with Congress. A federal judge extended the block on the Justice Department from sharing the report into the investigation. Former Attorney General Merrick Garland was working to share Special Counsel Jack Smith's report privately with a small group of lawmakers. The judge dismissed the prosecution last summer, ruling that it was unconstitutional. But that ruling is on appeal now, leaving the possibility that the charges would be revived. President Donald Trump signed an executive order that revoked the security clearance of 51 former intelligence officials. Those officials signed a letter in 2020 arguing that emails from a laptop belonging to Hunter Biden carried, quote, all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. President Trump's order has limited practical impact, though, since many of those officials are no longer retired and no longer hold active duty clearances.
Well, fierce winds whipping up in Southern California again are expected to calm down, but more threats are on the horizon. In just the last 24 hours, firefighters turned their attention to 3 brush fires. In the meantime, crews have managed 61% containment on the devastating Palisades fire. A fire weather watch remains in effect through Thursday evening, and the mayor in Los Angeles is looking ahead to potential flooding of all things.
I'm issuing an executive order to shore up burn areas and stem the flow of toxic debris in the event of rain this weekend.
Firefighters also tackled several small blazes in San Diego County. Evacuation orders were issued for residents in line of the Lilac fire. And a massive winter storm dumping snow and ice along parts of the Gulf Coast In Houston, Texas, people woke up to a fresh blanket of snow on the ground, with one person capturing video of snow on a beach in Galveston. The rare system even brought snow to the Tigers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Covering this Tiger, it might be Mike the Tiger at LSU at the zoo there. The cold snap also impacted travelers, with both airports in Houston suspending operations. Several school districts in the South have also canceled classes. And Alex, I got to tell you, Sarah and I both have college students in the Southeast. Yeah. They know how to handle the snow. Their fellow classmates, they're not used to this down there.
It's stunning for them. And in fact, when I show this snow vision accumulation graphic and how far south is snow piling up, 13 inches of accumulation, potentially just west of New Orleans, 7 to the north of New Orleans, 12 in the panhandle of Florida. You'd think this is what we'd be getting here in Wisconsin, but what this goes to show is how deep that cold air has made it all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And we're still dealing with this very deep cold, with cold weather advisories in effect here for just a bit more. But even as we go further into the overnight, into Wednesday, it's still going to be on the very cold side across southern Wisconsin. We'll carry forth our alert day conditions headline here through Wednesday morning as we get acclimated. Cars and businesses opening back up from the really, really bitter cold stuff that we had down to minus 40 below zero wind chills this morning. Will be at least a little bit better, but still on the cusp of dangerous. Wednesday morning could be looking at wind chills as cold as minus 20, and that's what we're seeing out there right now. Nearly minus 20, stretching from Janesville all the way up to the Dells and all the way to the southwest in Platteville. As warmer air comes in from the southwest, will moderate these temperatures, and you can kind of see this division already. 0 from the Dells to Madison to Janesville, minus 2 to the east, to single digits to the west. This is that warmer air trying to make it back into southern Wisconsin, and it will get here. 0 at the airport, 0 in McFarland, but 2 to the west in Middleton. Temperatures tonight, minus 2 in Madison, will rise into the single digits with breezy conditions as we go even further into Wednesday. Wind chills will be in that cautionary category in the morning and then work their way just into, and I shouldn't say just, but into impactfully cold conditions as we head a little bit later into the afternoon hours. And that will be tied up with some chances of light snow as temperatures get into the mid to upper 20s. So we're going to swing the actual air temperature by 30 degrees in the course of 24 hours with a little bit of light snow out there as we go into Wednesday morning, carrying forth into Wednesday afternoon. That light snow, scattered snow showers. And I want to say scattered is key here, and also want to underline we have very dry air in place from this polar Arctic air mass that's been around for a few days. So some of this snow is going to struggle to make it to the ground. I think we'll get some of that snow to make it to the ground, but just like some of our past snows during these bitter cold snaps, the total amounts here may be a dusting to an inch from the morning hours through the evening rush hour. I think 1 inch might be a bit on the high end because of that dry air that we currently have in place. This is the only chance of snow here really through the next 10 days. We've got mild temperatures on the way, 34 by Saturday and near 40 as we head out into next week. And as I promised, I want to show you just how unprecedented this dry January has been. In Madison, we have 10 to 25% of the total snow that we should have for this time of year. Southwestern Wisconsin, you folks have only had 2 to 5% of the total snow that you should get in the month of January, and there's not a lot in the forecast.
And coming up in sports, not many high school games going on tonight, but we found one. How Mineral Point pulled off a huge upset in Cuba City. That's next on News 3 Now. After beating USC in LA for the first time in program history, the Wisconsin men made the 12-mile trip to UCLA to try to do it again against another Big Ten newbie. Last time the Badgers beat the Bruins was back in 1949. It was good at halftime. Greg Gard's squad had a 5-point lead, and John Tonje had 5 threes. Right now, though, well, you can't see the score. Badgers trail with about 3 minutes left. High school girls hoops, Cuba City hosting Mineral Point in a battle of the top 2 teams in the SWAL. Pointers had it going on early. Lacey Lindsay grabs the loose ball and lays it up and in to put her team up 4. She had a team-high 17. Then later, more Mineral Point defense. Maddie Cabot comes up with the steal, and she goes coast to coast for 2 of her 16 points. Cuba City, though, of course they're going to answer. It's home. Well, Emily Wigman dials one up from deep. She had a game-high 20, but it wouldn't be enough as Mineral Point snaps Cuba City's 39-game conference win streak with a 68-62 win. Heading into their series against St. Thomas, Layla Edwards hadn't scored a goal in 3 games, which is crazy to think about from the WCHA's leading goal scorer. And then she took the ice against the Tommies. So Friday, she ended that streak with a goal. And then Saturday, not only did she record a hat trick in the first period, but she scored 4 goals on 4 shots, a feat that's never been done in program history.
I've been harping with her to try to shoot the puck more because she's got a good shot, and if she can hit spots, she can score some goals. All of a sudden the first one goes in, and it adds a little confidence.
It's crazy. Like every shot went in. I mean, 2 of them were 2-on-1. So, I mean, I don't know. It was just fun, especially from the bench. Everyone was going crazy, so you don't see that very often.
And speaking of Badger women's hockey, be sure to check out this week's Wisconsin Huddle with Casey O'Brien. Show airs on Friday at 6:30 right here on News 3 Now. And it's official, CC Sabathia is headed to Cooperstown. The former Brewer will be enshrined in the Baseball Hall of Fame as a member of the class of 2025. Now, Sabathia wasn't in Milwaukee long, but definitely made his mark in that 2008 season, going 11-2 in 17 starts, striking out 128 batters in 130 2/3 innings. We're back after this.
I have a close friend who would disagree that they might be considered pests, but squirrels, they also deserve a day of recognition. Today is that day. It is Squirrel Appreciation Day. There are more than 200 species of squirrels around the world. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Harrington, I don't know, you may not like the squirrels. You're a bird guy, so they ruin all the feeders, but they do fall into 3 different types, the ground tree or flying squirrels. Now, unlike their name, the flying squirrels actually glide great distances by spreading their legs wide to give the impression that they're flying. I haven't seen any of those around here, but to celebrate squirrels every day, they suggest setting up a squirrel feeder or observe them in a park.
The video's hilarious. Scary,
Who
too.
got down there and got all that ground level video?
And fewer squirrels these days, at least. I think they're hiding out from the cold.
Well, yeah, well, that or they need food too, because I have some outside with my feeders, and yes, they're the squirrel guarded ones, but I do feed them every day so they get their food too, and yeah, they need it as well right now with this bitterly cold stuff. Maybe we'll toss a little snow on the ground tomorrow as well. This snow is a light snow through the morning hours, through the rush hour tomorrow night, but they could be battling some of that dry air tomorrow as well. So some of that may not make it to the ground, actually. Then we warm up after that.
Need to warm up. Alex, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.